Hello everyone, it's Jodie coming from my glamorous kitchen, which is a bit of a mess at the minute. All the lockdown baking stuff behind me. But I just wanted to do a quick video about something that's been cropping up a few times in the EdTech world this year. I think it's something that's always been there, but it's something that particularly I think is hitting companies hard this year and causing a few to just go off course a bit. And it's to do with the cycle of sales impacting on development of your product. So you get those customers, those schools that say, oh, I'd buy your product if it had this, or I've got another, your competitor that I like, they do this other thing. So if you do that, I'll buy your product instead, or we'll definitely buy it for all our schools if it had this, with no actual commitment to necessarily buy. But that then goes back to the developers, or the sales team get really kind of hooked on that idea that they're going to make this sale. So they take that idea back to developers or back to back to the office, and it starts driving the development. It's like, okay, if the school wants it, we'll do it. Or even, it's a current customer and they want this thing really, really badly, or they're going to leave. And of course we want to keep that customer, and of course you want to keep people happy. But if that kind of I'll buy it if keeps being your company way of working, it very quickly snowballs into something you no longer can control. So say you've got 6 salespeople, they're doing maybe 4 or 5 demos in any day, or they might be demoing to a group of schools or whatever, and they've all got an I'll buy it if, or this other competitor does this, or this other competitor does that. Then suddenly your dev team has just got this deluge of things. And schools, unlike any other industry, are hugely different from school to school. So it's very rare actually to pick out of maybe 100 dev requests that I see in any given EdTech in a month. Of 100, I could pick out 5 that I would say are repetitive. The rest are maybe one school here, one school there, one school here wants it. And you might have a school that's really particular about having things a certain way, and so they're driving a certain dev. And the problem is it takes maybe 6 months to get through some of these devs. And by the time you do, if that customer hasn't committed to buying, then they've already gone off with somebody else. If they haven't, if they bought your product on the basis you said this thing was coming, and it hasn't come in until 6 months later, you've missed the crucial onboarding time for that customer. So they're likely already upset with you, because a lot of customers will just assume this thing might take a week. It looks like something simple to them. I just want to move a button here, I want to change a thing here, or I just want this PDF output here. And those aren't as quick as people think. So they've signed up and they're now unhappy customers from day one. So it's really important to get it the right way round, so that rather than our sales driving our dev drives our sales. By which I mean take customer feedback all the way along. Look at ways you can improve. Look at things that fit in with your roadmap of things that you can add in. And then once they're released, that should drive your sales, because you suddenly give customers something like, oh, we didn't realise you did that. And then they'll come to you and you'll be able to get other sales. Now, there's some sales that you're just going to have to say, sorry, we don't do that. Otherwise, you're at best going to make yourself a copy of one of your competitors, in which case, why are you different anymore? And if you were different from your competitors, you need to kind of hold fast to that belief that you're different for a reason. What is it that you do differently? What are your core values? What is the core objective? Why do you want people to use your product? What do you think a school should get out of your product? And just keep that in mind all the way along, and don't let kind of the worry of investment and money and this one sale kind of hinge everything else that you do, because essentially there are thousands and thousands of schools out there. Some will absolutely love what you do, some will almost love it, and some won't ever buy it. So don't hook everything onto I'll buy it if, because it can really drive you down a path that is very difficult to come back from, especially if your sales team then become used to saying to a customer, okay, fine, we'll add that in the devs. Our devs are brilliant. We'll add that in. It'll be fine. And I'm sure you're recognizing that kind of the cycle that happens, because then, of course, you're onboarding and the customer goes, oh, well, they said it was going to do this. And they don't realize that might take 8 months to a year for that dev to come in. So that's my little tip for today. Make sure your devs drive your sales, not your sales driving your devs. Do listen to feedback, do go out to focus groups and so on, but don't let that one hope of a sale, that little glimmer, mar everything else that you're doing along the way to get a really strong roadmap. So I'll leave it there. If you want to hear more things where EdTech goes wrong, then I've got a webinar on Tuesday, the 11th of November. Get in touch if you want to find out more details. Bye.